Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. So this is Dr. T. Bhimrao, Assistant Professor of Zoology, Kakatiya Government College, Anamkonda. So today we discuss about the uh, general characters and classification of the nematodes, Nematihelminthes. So this word Nematihelminthes word is coined by the Gegenbar in the 1835. So in this, the roundworms are included in this phylum Nematoda. So this Nematoda word is coined by the Gegenbar. They are the widely distributed. These nematodes are the aquatic or terrestrial. They are the parasitic or free living. Their body is elongated, cylindrical, unsegmented, worm-like, bilaterally symmetrical, and tapering at both ends. So, what do you mean by the aquatic condition, terrestrial, parasitic, free living? So, aquatic means they are living in the water. Terrestrial means some of these nematodes are living on the land. Parasite means these are the living as a parasites means they live in the another host, uh, and also some are the free living, and they are the worm like unsegmented body is uh, unsegmented. You see the what do you call in the platyhelminthes. So the cystodes, the body is segmented. Segmentation is takes place, but in the nematihelminthes, so there is no segmentation. So called unsegmented, worm like bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally symmetrical means if you cut the one animal at one plane only, it gives the two identical halves. So that condition is called bilaterally symmetry. So they exhibit the bilateral symmetry, and they are the triploblastic animals. Triploblastic animal. Triploblastic means the integument contain the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So this condition is called triploblastic condition. And perivascular cavity is more extensive than that of the platyhelminthes. So this perivascular cavity is more than that of the platyhelminthes. The body is of exhibits this nematodes body exhibits the organ system grade of organization. So they exhibit the organ system of grade of organization. So systems are there in this nematohelminthes. So the body is generally covered with the thick, flexible, multi-layered and collagenous cuticle substances, and often bears some of the cuticle setae or hairs, spines or annulations. So these are the body is covered by the cuticle. So it is the sensatial incarnation means multi nuclear are there, and the cuticle is moulted periodically means it is periodically it losses and again appears. This condition is called moulting or ecdysis. So it leads to the development or growth of these parasites, and they have the cellular or syncytial epidermis. I already told you this epidermal is the multi nucleated, and the each of other by the cell membranes. They are separated the cell membranes. They consist of a only longitudinal muscles fibers with four bands. So there is no transverse muscles. Only longitudinal muscles are present in the phylum Nematoda, and they lack a true coelom. Means the true coelom is absent in the Nematohelminthes. So means the coelom is filled with the um, what do you call the mesenchymal, mesenchyma or parenchyma. So that is why this blastocele is filled with this type of material. That is why there is no coelom. But the coelom is filled with these tissues. So it is called pseudocoelom. Means there is no mesodermal layer of the coelom internally. Mesodermal layer is not splitting in the mesodermal. Then the they are absent in the cilia also. They lack the cilia also. Circulatory and respiratory systems are absent. Circulatory and respiratory systems are absent. Mm, The respiration is occurs through the body surface or general body surface, and the aerobic respiration is there in the free living, but in the parasites anaerobic respiration. What do you mean by the aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration? The respiration is occur in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. The respiration occurs in the absence of the oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. So these are the common structure of the nematodes. So you see that this is the male, this is the female. Female is the larger than that of the male, or male is smaller than that of the female. And the internal cephalization is present, but externally there is no little differentiation between their anterior and posterior regions. And the distinct head is lacking. So perfect head is not there, but you can identify that this is the anterior and posterior regions only. And mouth is present at the anterior region, anus is present at the posterior region. The digestive system is completed with a distinct mouth and anus. The muscular pharynx and the inner surface of the gut usually not lined by the cilia. This extracellular digestion occurs in the this nematodes. So extracellular digestion is occur in the nematodes, and the mouth is surrounded by the six lips. Mouth is surrounded by the six lips, and the excretory system consists of the special cells called rennet glands. Rennet glands. So in this phylum, flame cells are absent. In the excretory system, flame cells are absent in this phylum Nematoda, but a specialized cells are there. They are called rennet glands or rennet cells. And the nervous system is not much developed. So that is the consist of the um, circumpharyngeal ring and longitudinal nerve cord. The sense organs are poorly developed in the form of papillae, which are well defined as the amphids and phosmids. So these are the chemoreceptors. The amphids are present at the anterior region. Phosmids are present at the posterior region. Means at the mouth region, amphids are present. At the anus region, phosmids are present. And this phylum animals are the exhibit the unisexual, or means the sexes are separate. The males is smaller than that of the females, and tubular gland is present in them. The male genital aperture or genital duct leads into the cloaca. Female genital duct with a separate opening. These amoeboid sperm cells are there. No asexual reproduction is occur in this phylum. So only sexual reproduction is takes place in the phylum Nematoda. There is no asexual reproduction. Fertilization is internal or maybe cross or self-fertilization. The development may be direct with or without an intermediate host. Direct development means there is no larval stage, but the different hosts are there, intermediate host or primary host. And these visceral lateral lines or pores are present on the surface of the body. Various lateral lines are and pores are present on the surface of the body. Here you see the this nematodes. So longitudinally from anterior to posterior, 4 lateral lines are visible. And so this classification is depend upon the presence or absence of the phosmids. So this nematoda classification is classified into 2 categories, 2 classes: phosmidia and aphosmidia. Aphosmidia and phosmidia. So you go to the these nematodes are the among the most numerous of this phylum. So this phylum consists of the 15,000 species of nematodes now present. So due to the much diversity of the form and structures, difficult to classify, this Chitwood scientist in 1933 divided into 2 classes, phosmidia and aphosmidia, on the basis of presence and absence of the phosmids. So class 1 is the aphosmidia. So in this, you remember only 2 things main. Phosmids are absent and excretory system is absent mainly. There is difference between phosmids and aphosmids. So phosmids or causal sensory organs are absent. Amphids, anterior sense organs of various types, and rarely poor, like, and excretory system is absent if present poorly developed. The well developed mesenterial tissues are there. The caudal adhesive glands are also present in the this aphosmidia. And you go to the phosmidia. In this, phosmids are present poor like amphids. The well-developed excretory system is present in the phosmidia, and weakly developed mesenterial tissues are there. No caudal adhesive glands are there in the this fast medium. Then you go to the what are the parasitic adaptations of the these elements. Parasitic adaptations of the elements. So in this, these parasitic adaptations may be defined as the fitness of an organism to live in its specific habitat or environment. The term is also applied to the process of adjustment involved and to characteristic that so adjusts an animal. So the adaptation is the fitness of an organism to live in a specific host or any habitat is the adaptations. These parasitic adaptations are for our convenience is classified into two categories: morphological adaptations and physiological adaptations. So first you go to the morphological adaptations. These morphological adaptations are the through the elements come at the bottom of the organ grade of analysis. A helminth parasites exhibits the a twist due to the parasitic mode of life. The structural modifications or adaptations of helminths have taken place along the two headings. First one is the uh, degeneration or loss of organs or loss of systems. Second one is the attachment of the new organs. So first you go to the loss of organs or degenerations. So in the structures which are partially or totally lost, the endoparasites undergo the loss or simplifications of unused organs or parts. So they are the parasites, they live in the uh, intestine or any host of the body. That is why some of the parasite organs are not necessary. So without these organs also, these parasites can lead the life successfully. That is why that type of organs are degenerated. So in these elements, these degenerated organs are the locomotory organs, digestive and sensory organs. So there is no need of the locomotion, there is no need of the digestive system, there is no need of the organs. Why? So these are the parasites, they live in the host body. That is why there is no need of the locomotion for searching of the food, shelter, whatever it may be. But so that is why their locomotory organs are degenerated or absent in these parasites. And digestive system is also absent. Why? Because they are already live in the intestine or in the inside of the host body. Already available, already digestible food materials are available to the parasites. They can receive the food materials through the body surface, surface body surface. So that is why there is no need of the digestive system. That is why the digestive system is also absent. Locomotory organs are also absent. And sensory organs, they are the parasites. There is no need of the sensory organs. That is why sensory organs are also degenerated. So you see the one by one. So the locomotory organs, this locomotion is actually an effort for producing the food and getting the mating and escaping from the predators and but the parasites have habitually habitually such places. So in the host's body, our sufficient food is available without any effort. So they need not to protect themselves from the enemies. So that is why there is no locomotion. Next, alimentary canal are organs of the nutrition. So, since the parasites consume digested or semi digested food materials of the host, so therefore, the alimentary canal and digestive glands are particularly or partially or fully lost. So, in the adult trematodes, there is an incomplete gut, and most of them this suctorial pharynx is present, by means of which the liquid food is sucked into the intestine. The intestine is always branched in the larva of trematodes. So the gut is either very simple or very complicated. And sense organs. So in the parasites, particularly endoparasites, there is often a reduction in the central nervous system and sense organs. And elimination, alimentation. So in the endoparasites, again there is a trend to reduce the gut and absorb nutrients through the whole body surface. So this is in those the intestinal parasites which do not absorb the nutrients through the body surface. There is a unusually a thick cuticle, so the helminths tend either to lose their gut or absorb nutrients through their teguments, or lesser certain their gut on the thick resistant cuticle. The simplification to eventual the loss of food tube with where the food tube is present, the pharynx becomes extremely muscular. Best example is the Oscar. And the glands in the buccal region is also developed, and newly attachments. So these parasites existence leads to the attachment of the new structures helpful in the food absorption, protection, attachment, and vast reproduction. So first, for entry inside the host, they secrete a liquid or unicellular gland to dissolve the host tissue, and thus making a microscopic passage for the parasite. So the example is the Miracidium larva of the Fasciola hepatica can contain the a special glands. The secretion of these glands is involving in the penetration of the host body. The secretion is also helps in the uh, hooklet to dissolve the tissues, and example is hexacanth larva of the tapeworm. So these are the organs of the attachments. So these hooks and suckers are the organs of the attachment. Hooks are arranged as a crown around the rostrum in the double rows in the tinea solium. So this is the structure of the scolex. So this is the rostrum. These are the hooks. These are the suckers. These are the adhesive organs for attachment of the parasite from the host. And these Acetabula are suckers found in the adult parasitic platforms like liver fluke uh, has a two suckers on the ventral side of the body. One is anteriorly and one is posteriorly. So oral sucker and ventral sucker. Ventral sucker is also called acetabulum. So in the phenotenia, the four suckers are and sometimes an apical one are also present. And in the tinea solium, the rostrum contain the basal, these circlets of hooks are also there. So in the Diphidium contain the several rows of the hooks are present around the this rostrum. Next for the protection. So the formation of the cyst membrane forms around the body. Example is this metacercarial larva of the liver fluke. The cuticle of the helminth is highly modified and adapted to resist against the digestive juices of the uh, host. The cuticle becomes thin, partially or fully for the food absorption. The parasites live in the rich nutrition environments such as liver fluke in the bile juice, the blood fluke in the blood. These sporocyst larva and these Cysticercus larva and other larva forms are lived in the particular areas inside of the body. So in gut, the parasites, however, in a tapeworm, in the gnathostomes, is the amphistomes and nematodes, this cuticle becomes thick, this emergent with the impermeable chitin-like substances and the enzymes are resistant, so that that is not digestible by the digestive juices of the host, but the permeable to water. So these cuticle protect the parasites from the enzymes released from the host, and also these parasites release the anti-enzymes. These are also worked as a anti of the enzymes released from the host. And musculature. So the well-developed musculature in the tapeworms, they helps them to distribute their elongated snake-like bodies throughout the length of the intestine of the host. So similarly, due to the specialized musculature power of locomotion, enable the roundworms, example Oscaris, to these advantages is that the worms can get the pre-digested nutrients of the host. So simplified organs. So there is no development of the nervous system. The nervous system is gradually reduced in this phylum. The nervous system is the ladder-like nervous system is there. It is the characteristic features of the this platyhelminthes. And excretory system, particularly in the nematodes, exhibit a very little adaptation or parasitic mode of life. They are called rennet organs or rennet cells. The characteristic features of the excretory vessels, cystoda is ladder-like and the longitudinal, these lateral canals are provided with the new a number of flame cells. So second one is the physiological adaptations. So above are the morphological adaptations, next physiological adaptations. The physiologically elements show the striking adaptations to lead the parasitic life in the body of the host and to enjoy their life in the simplest ways. These are the intracellular digestion. So the flukes feed on the tissues, elements, and these inflammatory um, exudes and have probably intracellular digestion. And osmoregulation. So osmoregulation is also very important to lead the parasitic life to avoid the concentration of the host liquids. The osmotic pressure in the interior of the parasitic worms remains less than or same to that of the host, to that there is no difficulty to exchange of the water. So this osmoregulation play the vital role in this area. And cystodes have the well developed water osmoregulatory system and their pH is also high. And anaerobic respiration. So and as intestinal parasites lead their life in the environment this completely devoid of the free oxygen. Evolutionary adaptations have result in a very low metabolic rate required a minimum amount of the oxygen. So I already told you they are living in this intestinal regions or endoparasites. There is no availability of the free oxygen, but they can modified into anaerobic respiration. So in this anaerobic respiration, there is no need of the oxygen. They absorb the assimilated through their cuticle, but the manner of the oxygen liberated from the food is not yet clearly known. In the absence of the free oxygen, the energy is obtained by the process of fermentation of the glycogen, in which by the glycolysis is broken down into the carbon dioxide and fatty acids. The glycogen and lipid contents in their tissues are therefore high, whereas the protein content is low. Anti-enzymes. The most helminth parasites, especially intestinal ones, they secrete the anti-enzymes to protect themselves from the gastric juices and digestive juices of the host. So, a worm is unable to produce the anti-enzymes quickly digested by a host. So if there is no releasing of the anti-enzymes of the parasites, it is quickly digested in the gastric juices of or digestive enzymes of the host. So to avoid this, these parasites can produce the anti-enzymes. So well-developed reproductive system, vast reproduction. So there is a vast increase in the reproductive system capabilities through a greater egg production in the flatworms. The interior of the body is the mostly occupied by the genital organs. The flatworms or the hermaphrodites and roundworms are deciduous and these ensure the fertilization. Efficient reproductive system. So the completely in the reproductive system gradually increased from the free living worms to the parasites. The large number of testes, ovaries, vital line and follicles are present in the parasites. So in the cystodes, about the 90% of the availability of space of the body is occupied by the only reproductive system. So this hermaphroditism, all the trematodes and cystodes are hermaphrodites except few like cystosoma. This hermaphroditism is an adaptation advantages to parasitic mode of life to overcome the search of the mate. So in the parasitic, both self and cross fertilization can be occur, and multiplication of the reproductive organs. So in the cystodes, the reproductive organs are much more elaborated and are repeated in such proglatids. Each these proglatids are the three types: gravid proglatids, mature, immature proglatids. So the each mature proglatid process one or two sets of the male and female reproductive organs. So this is called multiplicity of the reproductive organs. In each gravid proglatid, all other organs of the system degenerate to make room for the uterus, which is greatly enlarged and branched to accommodate a large number of eggs. And the large egg production. The egg production in the helminths is very high, astronomical. The female Ascaris lumbricoids lays about 2 lakh eggs per day. So the number of production of the eggs are very high. In the trematodes, usually they produce a few thousand, for example, 10,000 eggs, but cystodes produce a very large number of eggs. The Taenia solium produce a few thousand eggs or for the segment. The high production of eggs is simply to reach the proper distribution because a parasite has to face a number of hazards. That is why to lead their life to parasites, that is why the production of the egg is more number. So larva multiplication, so multiple larvas are there. It is also one of the adaptation. So in addition to a large egg production and methods of asexual reproduction, at the larval stage is peculiar in the helminths. Each sporocyst produces the 5 to 8 rhedia larvae. From each rhedia can produce the 14 to 20 cercaria are produced in case of cystodes. So the larval multiplication takes place in some forms. Example, a hydrated cyst developing from a single egg may contain the thousands of the this scoliosis. Complex life cycle. So the complexity of the life cycle in which more hosts are involved, it helps in the during the maximum benefits from the different hosts and the proper distribution and dispersal of the parasites. So they contain the digenetic or trigenetic parasites, means the life cycle is complete in the two hosts or three hosts. It is helps to development of these parasites. So these are the general characters, classification and parasitic adaptations of these helminth parasites. Okay, thank you.